Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you this Clevertronics LP 2x9 LED emergency bear batten. Okay, so this is of course an emergency batten, of course, I have in my collection. This was actually the second emergency batten that I bought, okay, so you might remember the single one, okay, which is right there. That was the first one, so this is the second one I bought, except this one's a double, okay. Now, when I got this originally, it was originally an economy nickel cad, but that range got discontinued in 2017, so I upgraded it to an LP. Okay, now when I did upgrade it to an LP, it was a little different, and I'll explain to you, what's different. Okay, so so if you take a look here, when so this batten here, when it was before I upgraded it to LP, one of the tubes used to be the emergency lamp. Okay. But all these new Clevertronics battens, the emergency lamp is this, okay? Okay, so you got a pod end cap with the life light assembly in it, okay? And that's your emergency light. So the tubes are just standard 240 volt. There's no emergency function in them at all. Okay, well that's now, there was, but only one tube would light up when the power failed, but the other one wouldn't. Okay, so the function of this was maintained, of course, so I could use both tubes. But now it's a combined non-maintained, okay, so, or sustained. Okay, so this emergency light here has two bulbs. It's the same as the Life Light Pro, I just happen to have one here. Here, I'll put this here. I'll put this here so you can see. So this is a Life Light Pro. I'll hold it beside it. As you can see, it's exactly the same as this. Okay, same thing. Okay, so it's basically got one of those in it. Okay, now originally it didn't have this, okay, it was something different. It used to be a single warm white LED, but I changed it to a cool white double LED. Okay, so I just purchased a Lifelike Pro head and just stuck it in there, okay, and it works. Okay, I also had to change out the inverter and also the battery, put an extra battery in it to do this, but it works fine, okay. Alright, now of course for this here I did, and the other three battens, I was able to obtain Clevertest modules. Okay, now that's the older Clevertest, it's not Clevertest Plus. Okay, so these do have Clevertest, but it's the older one. Okay, so I can just press the button to test it, okay, and the LED indicator will flash. Okay, part number for this is CBS229S. Okay, now this batten here is for LED tubes only, there is no ballasts in it anymore. Okay, now when I got it originally, it did have ballast, but I ripped those out when I upgraded it and just converted it to run LED tubes only. Okay, so when I upgraded, I had to purchase this emergency end cap and the inverter, so it's two things I had to purchase to upgrade it. Okay, the old nickel cad battery is gone, it's now running on lithium phosphate batteries, okay, which is the batteries that I have that are in here. The batteries are not inside the body, they're actually inside this end cap, so to replace them, what you do is you pull these two plugs out, and then you can undo two screws, and this cover will drop down, and then you can get to the batteries, which are inside here, okay? So the batteries sit up vertically, and they sit up inside here on either side. If you have a dual LED, you'll have two batteries. If you've got a single LED, you'll just have one, all right? So over here, if you can see, I'll just get you a closer look up there. If you see those little zip ties, that's where the batteries are, okay? So the batteries are held on with zip ties. Okay, now this little hole you see here, this was a rocket batten at one time. You know, I painted it up, okay, and made it into a rocket batten, but I scrapped that idea and just decided to convert it back to what it was. Okay, because I didn't really like the rocket batten idea, to be perfectly honest. Alright? And I did, now originally when I bought this, I originally had a fixed cord on it. Okay, you can see that the fixed cord used to go through the hole. It was actually on this end. Okay, it used to go through the hole here, okay? And there were cable holders on the side, but I converted all my lights to use a removable cord, and that's what's on it. Okay, so this is just a computer cable. Okay, now okay, so we have two tubes, so we've got two switches. So each switch controls each tube. Okay, but this will not operate while there's power because it is like a combined, non-maintained function emergency lamp. Okay, now the wire guard batten that I have, which is the same as this, it's a maintained, so I can actually use that as with this on when there's power, but I can't when it's because unless I put it into test mode. But other than that, it's just not going to run while there's power because there's no need to. So when there's power, I can just simply use the tubes, as you can see. Okay, the tubes are cool white, so they're 6,000 kelvins. This is cool white as well, okay, and so is that. All right, so this is what it looks like with the tubes on. Okay, the tubes I have in here are made by SAL, as you can see. These are type these are type A tubes, of course, so they do need a starter. Okay, now the plate in this batten is not bored through. The starters are actually inside the body, so to change them, you got to take the plate up. Okay, and it does have the sticker on there to let you know that it's for LED tubes only. Okay, on the back we have 2 wooden feet. They're just to stabilize it so it doesn't wobble around. All right. Okay. So yeah, so this does take a computer cable, so I'll pull it out. As you can see, just this type. Okay, when I unplug it, of course, the emergency lamp comes on because there's no power. Okay, I better put my iPad down to plug it back in. There we go. Oops. As you can see, it's just gone into test mode. Okay, so there's power, but now it's testing. Okay, you can see that the LED indicator flashes to let you know. There's also a little sticker on here to let you know. Okay, I'll just see if I can get it to focus on that. It's a bit hard with that light on. I guess while we have that on, I'll just turn the tubes on so you can get a look. Okay, so yeah, 2 little tiny LEDs versus LED tubes. All right, so I'll take it out of test mode. To do that, I just need to push and hold this button down. Okay, and then the indicator will flash. Okay, so I just need to hold it down until the indicator flashes rapidly. There we go. Now it's gone. Now it's back in normal mode. All right, so as you can see, very tiny bulbs. They're 3 watts each and they're cool white. Okay, so that's the benefits of Clevertest and Clevertest Plus. All right, so let's take the tubes out and we're going to open this up and I'll show you what's inside. To open this up, you just need to unscrew this little nut that retains the plate and holds the plate on, so you unscrew that. Now what we do is we need to push these lips on the lamp holders. Okay, now I should mention that in the past with these Clevertronics batten, I have had a few broken lamp holders. What happens is the little hooks that holds them into the batten break off. Okay, but that's not an issue because you can actually buy new lamp holders. Okay, just getting there. All right, so squeezing this. Now the plate will come up. Okay. All right, so here's what's inside the batten, as you can see. All right, so here we have our inverter. So it's basically a LifeLite Pro inverter, of course, because it's basically an inverter you would find in one of them. Okay, so it's the same thing. So this is a non-maintained function. Now inside there, you can probably see the Clevertest module through the vent there. Okay, so, and the Clevertest module does take a button battery, you can see it in there. Okay, and of course here we have our wires. This wire here goes to the battery, this other wire here goes to the lamp. Okay, so that's our inverter there. We have our power port. Okay, as you can see here, the power. The blue is neutral, brown is live, and the green is earth. On the back here we have our switch. Okay, there's our switch there. We have the terminal block. We have the information sticker. That was the original part number, but it's not anymore. Okay, we have our 2 starters. Okay, and it tells you what type to use. These are LED tube starters. Okay, so they're for LED tubes only. You can see there's no holes in the plate, so to get to them you got to take the plate off. And then of course we have our 2 lamp holders. Okay, so the brown wire, like I said, is live, and the blue is neutral. All right, so now we'll put this back together. Okay, to put it back together, we simply just slide the plate on. Okay, just get it underneath those 2 lips on the lamp holders. You need to do that on either side, so you can just push it down until those lips pop up. Okay, same here. Just push. All right, now we get our little cap and we screw it on. Okay, and this will hold the plate on. All right, now we can get our tubes. Now, it doesn't matter which way you put these type A's in. You can put them in either way, but I like to put them in a certain way. Okay, and keep note, on the back of these, you see that little white strip there, you need that facing the plate. Okay, because that's where the LEDs are. If you put them in wrong, you're going to have problems. Okay, so there we go. Now the batten's all back together. Okay, and of course, being a double batten, I can actually have 1 tube on at a time, or I can have both on. Okay, so I can have 1 or both. Okay, so that's the benefit of it, of having 2 switches and 2 tubes. Okay, and once again, we'll take a look at this. Okay, now when I bought the end cap, it didn't come with a label, so I made one. I put the company name on there, the range, and the classification. Okay, so that's basically what I did when I bought the end cap. Okay, it does have this part here, so you can run a conduit through it. All right, so that is my Clevertronics LP 2x9 watt LED emergency batten. So I hope you enjoyed, and that'll be it.